Hi everyone, I got back from my walk today and I'm trying something new. I've turned on my do not disturb. I want to see whether my voice records while I'm doing this live, because what happens is I'm recording my videos and I'm getting calls and messages and things coming through. So I'm trying to do it a little differently today and see if it works. And I went out for a nice long walk. I went out for almost 45 minutes walking, and then I sat in the park and I read another chapter of the Federer book that I got a long time ago. I actually have time to read it now, and it's interesting how he grew up, how he learned how to play tennis. And I think the thing is that everything starts in childhood. You know, the investments that people make in us, the skills we learn, the opportunities we get, everything starts in childhood. And I think those of us who grew up in Africa, we were fortunate because we might not have had the best of the best, but we had really good teachers. We got to play sports at school. We got to do all our extracurricular activities as part of the government schools. Whereas here in Canada, the children don't get that. If they go to a Catholic school, they might get that as part of their curriculum. But other than that, people pay for it. And the private schools are very, very expensive here in Canada. The fees are astronomical. So we have a lot to be grateful for. And that's why with me, with my activist work, with my volunteering, that's what I do, because I don't have money to give. I am poor and I'm always in minimum wage, never getting the support I need to come up in my career and to do well financially. And for me, I had a dream. My dream was that I was going to help my sister and my brother with their children, because I don't have my own children, because my own godmother has done so much for me. She's always taken an interest in my life. She's always kept in touch. She's always tried to guide me, told me what her interests are, what books she reads, when she's going on holiday, and she's always been there for me. And for me, my elders are not my friends. I'm not their friend. I don't believe in this new model of parenting. They are my parents, my aunts, my uncles. There's that kind of relationship between us. They're not my friends. So we have a good relationship. But going back to my volunteering with One and what I did, when I went to university, I did a lot of, I wouldn't call it activism, but I did a lot to try to promote racial integration, helping with forming committees where all of us came together. Even at Trinity House, we were all races, all ages. We had mature students as well as people coming out of matric that came together and worked together, and we accomplished goals. I was one of the few that got to work with the SRC. I wasn't on the SRC at FITS, but I got to work with Musi, and Musi is now a big shot lawyer in South Africa, just like my other friends. They've all done well. They're all in successful, good paying jobs, engineers, business analysts, lawyers. I'm the only one that hasn't done well financially. And, a lot of them have told me, just come back. I'm like, yeah, give me a job first, then I'll come back. But yeah, it's not the way I wanted my life to turn out, the way my life has turned out. And it's very disappointing. It's very frustrating not to get that support, not to come up financially. But with whatever little I have, I take it and I invest in my education. That's the first thing I do. I put it towards getting my skills upgraded, renewing my HRPA membership, whatever I can do to upgrade my skills and to keep my skills relevant to the country I'm working in. I try to do that. So when I do my advocacy work for one, initially what I did was, and it's got nothing to do with my mother. My mother, I just send her the pictures and I tell her what I'm doing, and just like the rest of the family, it's got nothing to do with her. She has not signed any petitions or done anything to help me with regard to it. So it was my initiative because I know how I struggled. I know how hard it was. I had to fight to get extra lessons, to go to ballet, to go to dolphins, to do anything. It was always a battle. And we didn't have the same opportunities, say, as South Africa. And it was hard in Zimbabwe. But we always did well. Our athletes went to the Olympics. They played at Wimbledon. They played among some of the best. They played against Roger Federer. Byron Black played against some of the major athletes. So we always competed. Even with my writing, I used to enter the Enid Blyton competitions at school, and I always used to win for my poetry, for my stories, for anything I put my mind to. I always excelled. And so it's disappointing for me that I've come to Canada and I've excelled, but my income level is here and all my qualifications are here, all my experience is here. So it's very disappointing for me, and especially not to be able to help my sister, to be able to have been there for occasions. I used to go on my debt. I used to go, just like now, when I travel off my debt, and I go, whether it's to see my mother or my sister or family in Connecticut or wherever. I have no money, and that is not the what I had envisioned for myself. So initially when I did all that at Wits, I mean, it was a hopeful time, and I worked on campus as well. And then I graduated, then I went to England, and I got involved there in advocacy work and in activism, in demonstrations outside Zimbabwe House when there were the land grabs and things like that. I used to go. We had peaceful demonstrations because I wanted to go home. I mean, when my 3-year visa ended, my plan was to go back to Zimbabwe and to build my life there. So I, like everybody else, demonstrated, and I wanted things to be okay for me to go home, but they weren't. So then I came to Canada, and then I started signing the petitions online. You just have to go to the website, see what the issues are that we are advocating for, and sign the petitions. And then later on, if you want, you can be included in the calls, and you find out what's happening, what the plans are. And the headquarters for us anyway, it's in the US. So everything is run from the US, and then we work with the US in what we're doing. They also do have offices in Europe and Africa and different places. But the signing of the petitions and that I did a little bit in England, but most of it I did here. And then they invited me to come to the summit. So that's how I got involved, and that's how I went, because it's important for me. I know how quickly malaria takes lives. I've watched people die within hours, including our workers. And things were very, very hard for us growing up. Not only did I walk to school and walk home, and this was even after my sister got married, I used to be the one that used to walk. My mother used to sit in the shop because my brother used to work, so he used to come and they would eat their meal together, and I had to walk, go check the house, walk back to town, and it wasn't close. I was by myself. I was this brave woman walking by myself on a deserted street going, and there was bush all around our house. There was bush on that road going from the town right up to where we lived behind the motel. And it was far out of town. It was, you know, at walking you would take at least 45 minutes to an hour. So I walked, and then when we didn't have money, I used to polish the floors. I used to get the Cobra polish and I used to polish the floors. I used to do the windows. I used to sweep. I used to take the water out of the drum and water the plants. When we went through our drought season, we had put a drum in the hole, and that water that we collected in that drum, it used to stink. I had to take that water and water the plants because we didn't have workers at that time. We used to get somebody in maybe once a week to help if there was the money available. But we went through really, really difficult times. So then I came here and I thought, oh yeah, things will get better for me, definitely. I know I've retrained, I've gone to Rotman, I've invested in my education, I've sat on boards, I've done everything right. Surely somebody's going to want to hire me and keep me. But every time after TD let me go, I just got temporary roles or I got contract roles. And then I was out of work for almost 18 months. And during that 18 months, from the time I get up till the time I used to go to sleep, I used to just sit on the computer applying for jobs. And this time I decided I'm not going to do that. I mean, my life was wasted here, let's be honest. It was wasted because I never had the money to go to family gatherings. I never had the money to do anything that I wanted. And, you know, when I lost my place, people told me, you should speak to family and friends because it's unlikely that you'll be able to buy a property again. I said I did. Nobody's willing to help, so there's nothing I can do. And when you're earning minimum wage or just above minimum wage, people don't even want to rent to you. So when you're a single woman, it makes it worse. When you're a couple, at least you have the support of the family, you have the support of the community. When you're single, people don't take an interest. They don't take an interest in helping in Canada. At least in Zimbabwe, people take an interest. It doesn't matter if you're single or married. They help a little bit where they can. So it was devastating for me. But if things are this hard for me here, imagine how hard things are in Zimbabwe. Especially now with the drought and everything. Whatever they tried to do to fix the currency problems and the corruption, now with the drought, it's hard. So that's why I spend my time and make an effort with helping, with signing the petitions. When I'm invited to attend the budget consultation meetings, I do go. I have attended quite a few of them with the Liberal government. And I went to events that Stephen Harper held when he was Prime Minister of Canada with the G7. He had certain people invited, and then after that we could go in and we could listen to them. So I went because I was included on the list of people who could go in. And I've never met him, but he was the one that took the initiative and that helped with mothers' health, maternal health. And so that's why it's important to me, because I know education means a lot. People can take everything away from you, like they did with me, but they can't take away your education. And it's like playing the piano. I hadn't played the piano since I left Zimbabwe in 1999. And then when I went to Regis, they asked me, can you play at the Mass? I said to them, I haven't played for years. They said, it doesn't matter, just play. And I was surprised. It came back, and I played at the Mass at Regis College. And then after I graduated in 2011, I didn't have access to a piano, but sometimes I used to go to Regis because they said you can come anytime and just play. The doors are always open. So I used to go there and play the piano. And in our church, the music is turned on, so I don't really go. There is a piano there, and Father Larry has said, if you want to play, you can play. But then I got my own electric keyboard, and so I use that now. But that's why I invest in women and girls and in children. I mean, there's a lot of men too that are raising children on their own. And there's a lot of poverty in Zimbabwe. There's a lot of people who want education, who want those opportunities, and it's important. I mean, the treatable diseases like AIDS, TB, malaria, those drugs are available. And even when we had the COVID pandemic, they were going to throw a lot of the vaccines away. So we advocated for that, for the vaccines to be sent to the global south. And then there's problems involved in that because the vaccines have to be kept refrigerated. Sometimes there's no roads to where they are taking them to in the rural areas. So there's a lot of benefits that we have here that they don't have over there. And that's why I do what I do. I'm not doing it for the family. It's my initiative, it's my passion, and it's because of what I went through. I wanted things to get better for me when I came to Canada, and unfortunately they haven't. So all I do is I count my blessing and I keep applying for jobs that I'm qualified for, that I have experience for, in the hopes that I will get a break and that I will get something that pays me the 65,000, 70,000 that other people are earning, because I am worth it and I have done the work, and hopefully things will fall into place for me so that I can also have something to leave to the next generation and to help with the next generation. Because nobody likes to be a sponger. Nobody likes to have to beg people to help them with money, with food, with anything. Nobody likes to do it. So it's one of those things. I mean, I don't know anybody that enjoys going out and begging for work or begging for food. And when I had all those contracts, I didn't have a TV, I didn't have a DVD player. I bought this TV now about a year and a half ago. And I just decided, you know what, I might as well do it. I'm working, I've got job security, let me buy it. But I did, whatever I did, I just did the basics. I got my food, I got my education, I went to events, and then once or twice I went to see Phil Collins a few years ago. But from the time I left England till I came here, I never went to anything like that. The tickets that I got to go to the theater, my managers gave me tickets to go see plays downtown. So that's how I got to experience some of the theater. If they hadn't given me those tickets, I wouldn't have gone, because tickets are so expensive. And even holidays and going to see different places, I would love to do it before I die. I would love to travel more, to see different things, and to experience different things. I like to experience different cultures, and I like to read. I do a lot of reading, especially now, and I don't focus all my time on the job search. That's all I used to do. From the time I got up till the time I went to sleep, I used to just sit on the computer and send out thousands of applications and apply to the positions that I was qualified for. So this time I'm approaching it slightly differently. I'm trying to get referrals, I'm reaching out to my network, and I'm also applying to jobs online. But it's important for me, and as I go through, that's what keeps me going in my volunteering in the church and in the One Campaign. It's because I know how hard things were for me when I was growing up. And if I can help to make other people's lives better, that's good. And it also gives me something else to focus on, instead of just focusing on the fact that I'm unemployed and in some people's minds I'm a bum and I'm worthless to society because I'm not working. But I know my worth. I know that I am not worthless, and I know that things will fall into place, but I have to keep trying, and I hope that over the summer I will get a break. So I wanted to share that with you about my experience with the One Campaign. And like I said, what I'm doing has got nothing to do with the family. It's got nothing to do with my mother, my sister, My brother has got nothing to do with them. So they should not be able to have me tracked and followed and use their being worried about me as an excuse, because I've never hidden anything from anybody. And I'm an adult. I don't need people to chaperone me, and especially not when I'm going to a conference with so many other people. I mean, all of us were there together, and everybody was frightened when I told them that, oh, you know, this is, every time I get down from the train, they keep calling somebody and saying she's here, she's here. It frightened everybody. And all of us were hurt when we found out that, oh, it was the family. We were like, what? Because I didn't know. I apologized to Bono. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't know that it was the family that was doing it. And I don't know why they did it. Because I don't know why they were contacted. I don't know what was going on. And, you know, I said sorry to him. I said sorry to the police. It's not a very nice way to live, to be honest with you. And, you know, other women live in countries like South Africa, Zimbabwe, in South Africa there's high crime rates and women live alone there. Nobody bothers them. Nobody has them tracked and followed. And I did nothing. I did nothing to the police, nothing to anybody in this country to deserve what was done to me. But, you know, that's why as women, we have to fight for our rights, and we have to stand up for our rights and our freedoms and our responsibilities. We have to vote. We have to do our duty to our countries as well. And, you know, I always say, you never know. I mean, now they're sending so many people back from different countries, from England and other places. So you never know. I mean, Canada also did it at one point. They were putting people on planes and sending them back to the countries they came from. So I try to help the country I was born in as well, because you never know.